Welcome everybody to Chameleon Chore Night, where there's no specific agenda. We're not really trying to get anything done, and if I actually get my chameleon chores done, it will be a miracle. If you're watching this on replay, just know that this is a live show that happens every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it's just really a hangout. We don't get a whole lot done here. If you want actual education and things in a structured Q&A or whatever, that's Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and Saturday at 12 noon Pacific. Tonight is just Chameleon Chore Night. This is just where we hang out, we decompress after a long week, and just have fun. So hang out, get into the chat, say hello. If you're this is both on Instagram and on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram and you say, hey, you know what? I'd like to do a little bit more with the community and talk to people, go on over to the YouTube channel, Chameleon Academy Live. Make sure the name live is at the end. And just hang out with the group, the community there, because there's a lot going on there. All right, oh my gosh, we have Misty Mountain fans. Yvette is here. Uh-oh. That means my secret of the mushroom cup. I'm going to tell everybody why I have the mushroom cup. I have the mushroom cup because, and this is now I'm giving away my secret. When I wash the mushroom cup, I put it to the side. You know how you open cabinets? So the left side is where the cups are. But I put it just over on the right side, so you only see it if you open the right side. And so if you're looking for a cup, you don't see it. That's how I get the mushroom cup on these evenings. And so that was my secret. Yvette knows my secret now. Oh, James. Oh, my goodness. Yvette has your glass. Oh, we know whose side James is on. Oh, my goodness. What the heck? Oh, and of course, if you're new here, you're going, I came here to talk about chameleons. You guys talking about a mushroom cup. Well, we have lore here at the Chameleon Academy. We have a history and a lot of, hey, just hang out for a while and you'll start to get in with it. It's kind of fun. Marshann says, I'm here. Let's get the show on the road. All right. Working on it. Hey, Flick's here we always say hello to Flick because Flick's from Ireland. And so we love having that. And by the way, everybody, Kazukuza usually ends up coming at the end, and he's from Japan. So we always look forward to Kazukuza coming in. And Wayne Beatties is here. And we know Wayne Beatties. I'm going to give you a complete rundown of the cast of characters that we have. Wayne Beatties is always here to show support. And he's the one who says, smash the like button. And that's what he does. So we have a lot of characters. It's kind of like Cheers. You guys remember the TV show Cheers, where everybody knows your name? Yeah, we're kind of like that here. So we all know each other, and everybody's got lore. So okay, let's go on down. Neebs is here. That's Alex's wife. Hey, and Wayne B is, and they're now talking about tarantulas. What the heck? So less than a week. James 3 says less than a week from Utah. Yes, everybody, I just need to remind you that next weekend is totally different. I am going to be with the Chameleon Academy community. We are going to be in Utah next weekend for the 10th anniversary celebration in person at Clint's Reptile Room. And we're all going to get together and meet for the first time in ever. Most of us have not met each other. And this is to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Chameleon Academy. This outreach that you have here started in 2015 with a podcast. And since then has grown to the most comprehensive website on chameleon husbandry. There's a YouTube channel with live sessions. These live sessions, we have live sessions 3 times a week. 4 if you consider the Reptile Show Report. And so we have digital courses, one digital course right now, working on the second one, and a private online community. And so we have a lot going on. We have built a whole lot, and it's really, and the reason why it continues to build is because it morphs. It changes with the times, and this is really exciting. So, all right. Nate says my iguanas moved out of my iguanas out of the reptile room to make room for bonus bifidus and future growth when needed. Going to bed in time. I'm actually getting good sleep these days. Hey, you see, this is what the community is like. They actually check on me because they know I've got to be checked on. I need more supervision than Yvette can provide. So my community looks out for me. And yes, bifidus. We actually have, for those who are new, we are starting a community project where we're working with Furcifer bifidus, which is a rare chameleon from Madagascar. It's not necessarily rare in the wild, and it can be usually found if you look for it, but it's rare in captivity. Very few people keep this, and the people that do keep it, I don't know who they are. They have been bred before, but nobody's really stuck with them. So we're trying it. Now you're saying, but Bill, aren't you working with a shamrock chameleon? And I'll say, yes, I'm working with a shamrock chameleon, but my community is kind of like the essence of chaos. They're uncontrollable. All I can do is create a fertile garden plot, but they're going to grow the way they want to. They're going to do what they want to. And they kind of rose up and decided they're going to be doing the bifidus project. And well, I can't refuse to be part of something like that. So yes, we are now working on Furcifer bifidus because my community wanted to. So that's kind of fun. And they just came in. James Cross has got his, the ones he ordered, and the rest of us are going to be getting them this next week. Whew. And by the way, if anybody, once again, I'm going to say, if anybody wants to be part of the Furcifer bifidus project, but you don't want to necessarily breed, we have extra males that need good homes. So if you're willing to pay $250 for a male and $68 shipping, flat shipping, so if you want 3 males, you can have 3 males, then contact me at bill@chameleonacademy.com. I'm going to send you to Jay Dubay, the guy who actually imports them, but I'm a good center hub. So anyway, I'll coordinate. That's really my job here. I am coordinating everybody getting what they need, and I am documenting what we're doing. So everything that we learn is not lost. See, that's the problem with the chameleon community. People work with these rare species and then they don't, because it's hard to sell. I understand that. So, and you can't work with everything. So people decide what they want to work with, like Parsons chameleons, and saying, okay, I'm going to work with Parsons chameleons, and they don't continue with bifidus. It makes sense. You got to focus, but we kind of lose that. I've got, I know 4, 5 people who have successfully bred Furcifer bifidus, but they don't anymore. And they're doing other things, and that's not a problem. But this just goes to show that if we don't record what we're doing, the community loses our experience and our history. So I'm going to be taking on the role of the historian, the watcher, and I'm going to be recording what's going on and what people have been able to do with Furcifer bifidus, what we learn about their husbandry, what we learn about their behavior. And I'm going to put it all in together in a packet that all of the people who are part of the bifidus community that we're doing here can send to the people who purchase their babies. And that way we pass on all the information that we learn. So, whew. All right, I'm going to catch up with the chat here because I just spun off. You'll see that this happens often. I spin off and I have a grand old time. James says, this is James 3. And yeah, there's a whole story as to why he got to be James 3 and why he didn't move up to James 2. He stayed with James 3 because nobody else can have that number. Part of our lore. Bill, I'm going to owe you a big handshake when I see you for the first time. I'll be there for that. Oh, part 2. Because my husbandry wouldn't be what it is without the Chameleon Academy. I am so glad to see. That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff that makes it fun to do what we're doing. James says, I love my bifidus. Did the newsletter go out today? No, it did not. I'm still working on that. I promised everybody that I'd send a newsletter out today, and I didn't. I got caught up doing other things. And of course, Yvette is in there. She's laughing because the other things that I got caught up in is I sat in bed. I said, I'm not doing anything. So I literally took a Sunday morning and afternoon off. So, but tonight I'm going to have to get to that newsletter. And the newsletter I'm sending out there's a number of things that are available to us that just came in from Madagascar. And so I got to send that out. Yikes. I got to send that out. Oh, whew. All right, everybody. We are 13 minutes in, and I have effectively procrastinated. I've gotten all nice worked up and procrastinated, so I didn't have to do feeder dishes. The actual reason for the show is that I'm supposed to be doing feeder dishes. And if I have a live show, then that means I have to do it every week. But I've been kind of sliding by. I've been doing a lot more talking than cutting the fruit. So, well, everybody's complicit. Everybody says, okay, that's Bill. Alex says, Bracasia. I don't know. I assume some came in, but I haven't checked exactly which species of Bracasia came in. Now, as everybody knows, we also have another thing that we do, especially on Chore Night. I published this book, Tiny Dragons. It's the art of hatchling chameleon husbandry. Very cool book. Lots of information, lots of pictures available on my website. Go to my website and there is a link. You don't buy it on my website. There's a link that you press and you go buy it from the publisher. But there is something that I do with everybody who comes to this chat. If you at any time during the chat, the talk, whatever, decide, hey, I want to hear Bill read from the book, you just put down a page number from 1 to 192. 192 pages in this. And if you do that, then I pick up the book and I read a passage from it and we talk about what is that passage means. So just letting you know the ground rules here. I already have a page, 115. Well, then we're going to see how this works because Flick just invoked the contract that I have with the group. Oh, Eddie says best place to put drainage holes on a large hybrid dragon strand drainage tray, and should it be shimmied so it drains a certain direction? Eddie, you can put it anywhere you want. So it really depends on where is your drainage. And so what Eddie's talking about is when you have a drainage tray, where do you put the drain? You have to drill a hole, put in a bulkhead, and then you silicone it in, make sure it's waterproof, and then it drains. So if you want to put a bucket underneath, of course you got to go from the bottom. If you want it to drain out the side, you go from the side. Now he brings up a question. Wait a minute. Should you shimmy it to make sure that it all drains out? Here is the challenge. With drainage trays, you rarely will get to the point where you're able to get it all out. So what you are really trying to do is get most of it out so evaporation can take care of the rest. And it really doesn't matter if you have a little bit of water in there. It doesn't need to be dry all the time. Although someone will point out, hey, but then you got to clean it. Yeah, you got to clean it. You got to clean it no matter what. Okay. I say that because that's the responsible thing to do. Have I cleaned my drainage trays? Yeah, no, I haven't cleaned my drainage trays in years. So the chameleon can't get a hold of them. All I do is sometimes if there's water, enough water, like mosquitoes, I make sure they put those little mosquito bits in there, and it kills the mosquitoes. So if that's a problem. Now, Eddie, depending upon how good you are at doing all of this, you can get most of the water out. It just takes a lot of work to do it. Now, you got to be careful about tilting things because your cage will be tilted as well. That may or may not be an issue. I mean, even if you just put a little bit of like a small, I don't know, 1/4 inch strip of wood or something on the back, you'll get it. You'll get it sloped. But here's the thing: when you try to get clever with the sloping and stuff, you end up usually causing more problems than you solve. It's one of those things where in our minds it says, that's a great idea. But in actual execution, it becomes a logistical nightmare. Now, Mr. James Cross, who is here on the YouTube, he makes these custom trays. And if you look at these custom trays, a lot of times you'll actually see a slope, not because you ask for it, but because that's what he wants to do with his life. And he makes it, he if you want custom drainage trays, Mr. James Cross from Crosscuts is the place to get it. Now, I offer these trays on my website. So you can buy trays for the large atrium, hybrid atrium, for the 2x2 by 4 foot tall, the tall series, which also fit the rest of Reptar breeds, by the way. So, people look at that and say, wow, that's expensive. Yeah, but it's a masterpiece. So, and it's functional. So it's worth it. But, okay. If you have any other questions, put it in the comments about what I said, put it in the comments and we'll make sure we go over it. Fogging with bottled spring water or regular tap. Opinion, I use RO water. When I use my tap water, I smell the fog and I don't like it. It's like, it's fog. It's not like poisonous, but it just doesn't have that clean smell. If I put in RO water, I get a clean smell. I like it. I bet you the chameleons like it too. Hey, Amy's Reptile Adventures. Yeah. All right. Back to Flick gave me 115. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm going through this book and I will read a passage from page 115 because that is what Flick requested. This page is all about feeders for juveniles. And on page 115, let's go ahead and I'll just start at the top. It says, for a feeding regimen with a focus on growth, I have a fruit mash cup that I constantly refresh to the point where fruit flies are actually mating and laying eggs in the fruit. I add fruit flies on a regular basis, and when the first round of pupae hatch, it becomes a self-sustaining fruit fly bar. I also feed appropriately sized crickets every day in the feeder run cup. And on a regular basis, I enrich the diet with bean beetles. And then I go on to talk about silkworms and hornworms. I'll read it. And when I can find the small sizes, silkworms and hornworms, I keep food constantly available in different forms. Food plus heat plus water plus UVB equals a healthy growing chameleon. Okay, so we want to give our baby chameleons as much food as they will eat. Their job is to grow. And if we give them everything they need to grow, they will grow unless they are my umbanjas. In that case, they say we want to stay kids forever. I have the Peter Pan umbanjas. All right. That's a different story. But the way I love to do it with my babies is I get this like 2-ounce deli cup and I stuff it full of banana mash. And then I pour the fruit flies on this banana mash. And I got to tell, I just keep adding the fruit flies. And, when the banana gets bad, I just add more banana. I keep it clean. But the thing is, if you are able to make it so you keep it clean and functional, the fruit flies will actually start breeding in that banana mash. And so you're going to have a fruit fly bar for your chameleon, little baby chameleon, that continually refreshes. It's actually kind of cool. So that's what that was all about. Any questions about feeding baby chameleons? So let's see. See, Lisa is saying, I don't know much background of the veiled I got yesterday. I know that the store had him and he charged everyone even for feedings. And me being me said I can try, and he didn't bite, hiss, or nothing. All right. Let's see. Oh, Janet came in for page 132. Okay. Oh, Nate. All my microscope stuff has arrived, and I'm getting ready to take the hunting parasites course for the second time with actual poop in a microscope. Excellent. That is exciting. Yes, we're talking about the hunting chameleon, microscopic chameleon parasites digital course on the Chameleon Academy, where it will teach you how to look for, how to shop for a microscope, use a microscope, how to find parasites, and we all, it's a community supported course, meaning that you've got a forum with the students you're going through the course with, the alumni, and me, the instructor. And so we're all there together. In fact, today I just posted on there a picture of roundworm ova and actually roundworms coming out in the poop. That's the kind of exciting stuff you can be part of. Oh, the things we enjoy. All right, 132. Oh yeah, we don't often get into the 100s. You guys are starting to go into uncharted territory. Oh boy, okay. This is all about metabolic bone disease. You're saying, wow, that's in a book about baby chameleons? Yeah. This book, I realized I had to put in the basics of chameleon husbandry, everything about chameleon husbandry just through the lens of hatchlings. So you're actually getting the entirety of chameleon husbandry in this book. All right, 132. Let's read metabolic bone disease. MBD happens when a chameleon's body doesn't get the calcium it needs to keep bones strong and healthy. It's similar to rickets in humans. MBD is mostly seen in captive chameleons and usually comes from problems with either calcium or vitamin D3. And so it goes on. Look at those poor chameleons. Got some pictures from Dr. Rob Koch, who was very kind to let me print those. So, yeah, that's one of the biggest dangers, especially in veiled chameleons, because veiled chameleons grow fast, which means they need calcium, they need vitamin D3. And vitamin D3 is what allows the body to absorb calcium from the gut. If you don't have vitamin D3, the calcium just goes through the system and is not absorbed. Now, this is a very high level. Okay, so if I've got vets in the audience, they're going to be going, "Oh my gosh!" And they'll say it's not MBD, it's hypo. And they'll say something that I still haven't learned how to say. Nutritional deficiency. I knew it one time. Anyway, so at a very high level, you need vitamin D3 to absorb calcium. And this is why our chameleons, especially veiled chameleons, end up with MBD, is because they don't have the UVB light. Our bodies and chameleons' bodies synthesize vitamin D3 using the energy from UVB. So if they're not getting it from UVB, they've got to get it in the diet. That's our supplementations that have vitamin D3. Now, we got to be careful about giving it through the diet because it is fat soluble and the body cannot stop absorbing it if it's in the gut. It can shut it off when it's coming from UVB. That's the natural way to do it. It's got checks and balances. So we've got to be really careful when we bypass UVB and give it dietarily. That's why we're very much into making sure our chameleons got the right UVB. And the reason why, say, the chameleon kit from Zoomed is such a bad kit. There's so many different reasons, but the UVB is so weak that it's not reaching more than a couple inches into the cage. And so the chameleon, that's even more insidious than not realizing you need UVB, is realizing you need UVB, thinking you have UVB, but you really don't. So this is why we have such a focus on UVB. Annette is just quickly saying hi. She's kayaking on the Russian River, so no chores for me. All right. See, we got a great group. We do everything here. Oh. Todd says, feeding about 24 of them, probably talking about his baby carpet chameleons, and just had to order flies because I didn't make enough. Yeah, those babies, they'll eat a lot. They will. So, Janet says, I think my babies look so good. Need to stop and take some up-to-date photos. Yes, everybody, if you've got baby chameleons, take photos. More photos than you think you need to. It's so easy to just sit back and say, I'll take photos tomorrow, and it goes a week, then 2 weeks. Babies grow fast, and you want to remember every step of the way. Yeah. Angela says, Bill, my veiled has a crooked crest. I think that's what happened. She's been like that since I got her. And this is true. Metabolic bone disease will warp the crest of veiled chameleons. It will disfigure the legs, the jaw. MBD can be stopped, but you can't repair it. So you can't reverse it. You can't, if the legs are bent with a bunch of breaks that have healed, you can't get rid of that, but you can stop the damage from happening. So it's very likely that your veiled had MBD, got a misformed crest, but then got in proper husbandry, and now we'll be fine going forward. Do you keep your chameleons outside? D4M. Yes, I do a lot of outdoor keeping. And when the weather is good, where I am in California, the weather is good in spring and fall, but in the summer it's too hot, and in the winter sometimes it gets too cold, depending upon the species. Yeah, every species is different. James, do both of your female bifiduses have their horns spread like a Y, or are they straight? That's because, first of all, bifidus has those dual blade noses, rostral processes, horns on the nose. And Nate is saying, do they go straight or do they go off in a Y? James says they're both spread, but it seems that one kind of hooks up and the other hooks down. Every chameleon is going to be different. Every single one of our bifiduses will have a different rostral process. And that's going to be one of the fun things that I do, is getting photos from everybody and putting them all together in one page, and then giving that back to everybody so everybody can say, hey, wow, look at that. That's pretty cool. See, this is going to be a fun project that we're all going to do together. Seen Bomi with a Y-split nose, and mine does not have a nose. It's straight and equally gapped all the way. Bill, is there anything that causes that? Genetics? Genetics mostly. Some environment can have an effect. Like I know in Jackson's chameleons, if you like damage the horn bud or do something when it's in development, that the horn will go off at an angle. But mostly it's genetics. So, all right. Whew. You know what I need? I need water from the mushroom cup. Mm-hmm. All right. Geraldine says, so now I have hundreds of dubias and only one reptile. Any suggestions on how to meet reptile people in the area so I can give away some of the dubias? Geraldine, that can be difficult. You can go on the Facebook groups. That's generally a way to find a lot of people, and just ask, is anybody in this area? And start building a group, figuring out who's in your area, and then you can start a meetup. Oh. Jay is holding my bifidus until we get back from Utah. Okay. Yeah, that's convenient. I wish I would have thought of that. All right. Well, it looks like I've gotten done with all of my talking, so I can't procrastinate anymore. I'm going to have to actually do some work. So what do I do as far as put together these feeders? I put in something like carrots, sweet potatoes that have like orange, and I use this feeder fuel from Reddy's Rainforest. This silver one is the 5-pound bag. The green one is the 1-pound bag. And the crickets really like it. So I keep using it. I have seen other things. It's really strange. You would think that crickets would just eat whatever. Not the case. I have found all sorts of things that my crickets won't eat. They say, Bill, we like that you're trying, but your best just isn't good enough. I'm excited to do this, Todd, talking about the bifidus stuff. Hopefully someone in the group is successful. It's going to be neat to do this with the big group. Yeah, it is. And James, sooner or later you're going to have to get a wine cooler that allows you to do a diapause, because bifidus are going to need a diapause. And that is, for those wondering, a diapause is like 6 to 8 weeks of being a cooling down, like to 60 degrees, something like that. And that is to simulate the dry season, and eggs use that to time themselves, supposedly to time themselves so they hatch during the wet season. But the bifidus comes from the East Coast, and East Coast, there's babies that are hatching even in January, which is right before the dry season. So, what do I know? Geraldine says, I was thinking about Facebook groups, but I really don't like Facebook. Geraldine, I absolutely agree with you, and I feel bad sending you to a Facebook group. I don't wish that on anybody. You should not go on Facebook unless you're forced to. So I'm sorry to suggest that, but unfortunately it's the best place to find a bunch of people. Oh, great, Bill. Now I got to start drinking. No, don't put wine in the wine cooler. You're going to put eggs in the wine cooler. Don't use up that valuable space for wine. Oh, no way. No way. Northern Pennsylvania. Oh, there's a lot of old time chameleon keepers in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if they still meet or they're active or whatever. Oh, I love this. James is trying to talk me into building a super enclosure for a Parsons. Good job, James. I'm proud of you, James. You're passing on the tradition. Yes. How much is a quality wine cooler that will do the job? I think it's like $150. You go on Amazon, and the wine cooler product family, apparently there's a lot of people who use wine coolers, and so we have good selection of quality wine coolers, which is really cool. You can't use them for standard incubation because they don't go up to 72 degrees. But so you just have to make sure you have one that will give you 60 degree Fahrenheit. Some of them are are lower than that, so you got to be careful. But I'm gonna put together a strategy sheet for the bifidus care group. So when that comes up, we've got time. So as soon as we start being in danger of eggs, I'll start putting I'll put something together. And then James is going to say, oh, you mean like you're going to put together the Parsons Care Guide? Yeah, well, yeah, gosh, come on. See, I did that before James got to it. Todd says my cooler is about $250 on Amazon. Yeah, and when it comes to something like that, make sure it's not electrostatic. Make sure it's what they call it, compression. Don't do it with the Peltier panels. I was an engineer, so I don't know almost Peltier panels, but they're like electrostatic, whatever. But I'm going to put a guide like that together. James says, "Are you going to put together a sheet with a list of different kinds of wines?" No, I'm going to put together a list with the different kinds of eggs that need diapause. That's what should be in your wine cooler. We're not going to be wasting wine cooler space on wine. Jeez. You beat me to it. That's right. I know your ways. I know your ways, Mr. Cross. Oh, all right. We are all getting ready for, let's see, I leave on Thursday so I can be there Friday morning in Utah. And Yvette's only coming from Saturday night. So their final head count ish for Utah, it's about 30-ish people. And yes, I've got to send out that email about how to pay the ticket because I got to pay for the space. Oh. So, lots of good beta carotene. But Bill, I heard that chameleons don't process beta carotene. Yeah. One study is not the end all be all of information. I'll just say that. Bill, are you saying that we've got it all wrong? No, I'm just saying we don't know for sure. We have hints, we have data. We have to be careful not to go too far with our conclusions when we have data. And that is not being disrespectful to the scientists that gave us the data, because at the end of every one of those reports that they and studies that they make, they say, hey, listen, this is what it might point to, but this is where we need to do more work. That caution rarely, if ever, gets translated when we get to our social media groups and they start spouting around things like it's fact. It is very rarely that you get absolute fact from these scientific studies. We just get data points and steps forward. So, Marcia says, I wouldn't want to get a Parsons if a care sheet is not available. Oh my goodness. James, did you put her up to this? Now there's an element of guilt and responsibility to the community, because if somebody is not getting a Parsons Chameleon because of me, I mean, that hits deep. I need to step up to the plate and make this happen. Yeah. Yeah, wow. I didn't realize the stakes were so high. Now I know. It's time. Actually, the thing is, once I get back from the 10th anniversary, I am having a complete review of everything that I am doing because I need to get focused. He says, Bill, why do you got to get focused? Because the end of the year is coming, and it's really important to me that at the end of the year, I've accomplished things, because I've spent so many of my years just doing little bits here and there and not accomplishing things. It's so easy to get into that. And then 5 years later, you're going, what have I done? So I'm very, very cognizant of what I'm doing and making sure that I will actually accomplish things. Now, I've already published a book this year. That's great, except in my mind, I go on 6-month cycles. So in this next, so in the last, I am in the final sprint for the end of the year. When we have our end of year 6-hour live session that we have at the end of every season, I want to be able to have 2 major accomplishments for this year. Now, yes, 10th anniversary, that's pretty significant, but I want to have two major accomplishments that push the Chameleon Academy forward. So Nate says, Bill, I may have missed it. Any chance you have that Jurgen Namaquensis article? Seeing someone else breathe them reminded me of it. I probably do somewhere. I'll have to look at it. James 3 says, I know I wouldn't buy a Parsons without a Chameleon Academy certified care. All right, guys. Oh man. This is getting serious. Look, Bill, now you're stopping James 3. Ow. You know, when it was just James and Eliza, they already have Parsons. It's not like I'm stopping them from being awesome. But now I've got 2 people, James 3, Marcia, that are looking to touch greatness, but they're saying, no, wait a minute. I want that care guide first. So I'm now in the way of people manifesting greatness in their life. So this is getting serious. I'm going to have to be a lot. I need to step up to the table. I need to step up to the table. All right. Oof. Okay, let's go ahead and use some feeder fuel. Nate says, I can't get a Parsons till the Tegu moves somehow. If anyone knows someone dying for a Tegu, let me know. All right, everybody. If you are able to find a home for Nate's Tegu, that will be 3 people waiting on me before they can get a Parsons. And this is starting to get overwhelming. I cannot resist any longer. That would be just too much. Well, if they are getting a Parsons, Bill, you got to get that care sheet. I know. You see what kind of pressure I'm under? You see what these people do to me? I need advice from a scientific mind I can trust. Janet says, I could be number 4. Are you serious? You would get a Parsons, Camille? Wow. My life direction is changing because of Chameleon Chore Night. I'm still torn on the variety of Parsons I'd get. That's why you plan for 4 Parsons cages. Oh my goodness. Nate, you got people. Amy says, where does Nate live? Nate lives in Ohio. How big is his Tegu? Nate, how big is your Tegu? What kind of Tegu? Bob's asking what kind of Tegu. All right, Nate, you may have some takers here. Live in Ohio, 5 years old, 4-foot long blue Tegu. All right. You may be working on another Parsons owner here. Mm-hmm. And by the way, we'll say this again. If anybody wants a female yellow giant Parsons chameleon, please talk to me. I have 2 females that need to go to new homes. And so I would, if you would like a long-term captive, they are wild caught, but long-term captive. And one of them just had a nice clean fecal. I cannot guarantee that they are totally parasite free, but I will say that they've been worked on. So, Clint just lost his Tegu? Oh no. Oh no, Gus just recently passed. I didn't know that. Oh, Gus was Clint Laidlaw's from Clint's Reptiles Tegu, who was just such an awesome Tegu. Aw. Aw. That's sad. So we're not going to be getting a we're not going to be getting to see Gus when we're there. Aw. So sad it was the other day. Okay. I'm leaning male. Okay, talking about the Parsons Chameleon, but only because I want to name it Godzilla. Okay, well, if that's the important thing, she's not going to mind being called Godzilla. I mean, it is a at the end of the name, so I'd say Godzilla is a feminine name, and no one. I mean, has anybody checked Godzilla? Godzilla is probably a lady. A lady Godzilla. That's right. Oh. You'd be free to a good home only, not a random person. Message me on any platform. All right, people. If you would like to check out Nate's big Tegu, contact him on any platform. And if you cannot find Nate on any platform, you can send me an email, bill@chameleonacademy.com, and I will send your information to Nate, and he can respond as is appropriate. Love females. Female Parsons? Yes. Very nice. I have a smaller, cute one and a larger one, but they are just, they're so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And the only reason why they're going to another house is because that is why what I agreed upon with these are actually from One World Exotica, and the agreement was that I would be able to take them and keep them for a while, acclimate them, document them, use them for the parasite studies, and then that I would sell them to a good home. And so this is why I am sending them, selling them. So they're beautiful, they're wonderful, and yeah, I mean, left up to my own devices, I'd probably have all the chameleons ever and never send them away. But there you go. James 3. Females are awesome too. I can't say I have a favorite. Yeah, it's amazing. Males are amazing. The females are amazing as well. I love their soulful eyes. Lisa says, I think a Parsons is going to be my next baby. The picture of James's baby melted my heart. Yeah. If I had the room, I would definitely take one of those that Bill has. Well, that's why you built an extension, right? For more Parsons. We will talk about it this coming up weekend. Okay. I'm there for it. I'm there. That will accommodate some quality James Cross products. Oh, I tell you, for my large hybrid atrium, that's like the 4 foot, 2 foot by 4 foot, James made, I mean, it's on the website, Dragon's Den website right now, a bioactive substrate drainage tray stand, bioactive stand for the large hybrid atrium. It is awesome. I love it. People, we've been shipping them out. People love it. And it's like people really haven't thought about stands or drainage tray. It's kind of like, that's an afterthought. But when you're serious about it and you get the right one, you actually invest in it, it's the total foundation for your cage. And so I actually love what I've got here, what we're doing. Okay. Well, yeah, I've got a lot of flies around here, but I've been having fun catching them and putting them in the babies' cages. So updates on the baby I have a bunch of Unbounded babies that are growing at a glacial pace. It's like, wow, what the heck? Why are these growing so slowly? I love it, but they're just growing so slowly. There's like 6 months old. They should be young adult, and they're still like juvenile. So I don't know what's going on. And we've had plenty of conversations. Heat, food, UVB, cage size, everything. Um, but they are starting to grow. Some of them are starting to grow. It's like, wow, you're finally doing what you should have done 6 months ago. But I'm really excited. And by the way, I'm not hurrying them at all. I love that they're staying babies for so long. I've just never had it happen like this before. Let's get an update as to the personality of Nate's Tegu. Alicia, he's food motivated, pretty chill when he's not hungry. He's target trained. He doesn't like to be carried, but overall, I can pet him and do stuff in his enclosure just fine with him in it. Well, Tegus are I love Tegus. They're so cool. Now, I can't have a Tegu. There's so much that I can't have because I do so much with chameleons. And it's like, my goodness, you can't have everything in the world. You got to just be cool. Settle down. So that's what I'm doing. All right. We have 7 minutes. Does anybody have a question, or would you like to throw out a page number? We could do it. We could do it if you're brave enough. If you're brave enough. Let's see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read you the last page. We have, Tony C says page 48. I'll do 48, and then I'm going to do the last page. I am wondering how many people here how many people got to the last page? I have it's something special for all of us there. Benefits of outdoor keeping. So that there. The natural sunlight, breezes, and day-night ebb and flow of temperatures and humidities are magic for a chameleon. They can be for hatchlings as well. And we go all talking about that. And I just want to say, the one thing you got to worry about is the sun. The sun, the thing that we love the most about outdoor keeping is what's going to kill your chameleon. Because if they can't get out of the sun, they will dehydrate and overheat so quickly with that little body. So you've got to make sure that there is deep outdoor foliage. That doesn't mean you take your indoor cage and bring it outside. That usually the foliage that you have in your indoor cage is not good enough for outside, because outside that sun is so powerful, it will blast through your poor little indoor plants. So you got to make sure you're really careful. One thing you can do is put your baby cage, and even if it's the indoor baby cage, you put it out onto the patio so it gets sunlight for the first couple of hours of the day. And then if there's a cover, then it's blocked like from 10 a.m. and afterwards. And that's a really good way to do it. So you don't have to worry about the direct sun. All right. I am going to read the last page. And this is a message that I wrote for all of us in the community. And I hit it back here at the final page because it's just for us. It's really just for us. This book is for the entire community, but for the Chameleon Academy community, this is for us. This book is more than a guide to hatching chameleon care. It's the starting point for an experiment in small batch breeding within the chameleon community. Small batch breeding, coined by T.C. Houston of Reptile Mountain, describes a breeding model focused on raising a small number of reptiles in highly enriched conditions rather than large numbers in minimal, easy-to-maintain setups. While the principle sounds uncontroversial, the reality is far from simple. Even breeders who want to offer enriched care often find it challenging especially with chameleons whose large clutch sizes can overwhelm even the most dedicated keeper. A single clutch of 30 hatchlings can stretch time, space, and energy to the limit. This experiment asks a daring question. What if we could raise a clutch as a team? Imagine one breeder producing the eggs, supported by 5 or 6 nursery caregivers, each raising 6 to 12 hatchlings in enriched conditions. Could that level of cooperation work? If so, the implications are powerful, not just for the health and quality of chameleons, but for establishing new species in captivity. Launching 4 bloodlines of a rare species could take just one breeder and a team of 20 to 30 nursery caregivers. Idealistic? Of course. Impossible? Well, that's a story we're about to write together. That's why this book exists. It's not just a care manual. It's a training guide for those in the Chameleon Academy who want to explore this idea with me. If this vision requires 30 or more nursery caregivers, we'll grow them through education, support, and shared passion. This is our starting line. Many rare chameleon species never become established. This isn't because they're difficult to breed, but because lone breeders eventually burn out. Managing multiple bloodlines, raising every hatchling, and handling all the sales can quickly become overwhelming. Too often, the result is exhaustion, and another breeder quietly leaves the community behind. But it doesn't have to be that way. With a collaborative model, a handful of breeders could work together alongside a shared pool of nursery caregivers and a team of social media outreach members helping to find hatchlings their future homes. I often say the chameleons don't cohabitate because they gain nothing from being near each other. But we humans are different. Our strength has always come from working together. So let's do just that. Breeders unlocking the secrets of mating behavior, caregivers enriching hatchling life, and outreach members sharing those stories within the world. I don't see this as a path to riches. I see it as a way back to the joy that first brought us to chameleons. Somewhere along the way, chasing the next clutch, the next purchase, the next collecting dopamine hit, we lost something without realizing it. Small batch breeding offers another path. It is built on shared joy, deeper purpose, and a passion we can sustain. If that sounds like a journey worth taking, then stick around. This is our community, and we love our chameleons. There is so much potential here. Thank you for stepping into this next chapter with me. And now, let's see where these steps take us. And that is the core of what I hope this book does. It acts as a training manual for us to open up another chapter in this chameleon community. I mean, Janet's already done it. She's already set up her nursery. She didn't have any breeding chameleons. She's just taking in other people's babies. That's what we need. We need for these people who have the bifidus, who just got the bifidus in. They are going to say we're all successful and we have 4 clutches of bifidus out there. How many? Say it's 20 eggs each. We don't know what we're going to get. Say that's 80 babies. The breeders are not going to be able to handle those 80 babies. And so when those eggs hatch, I'm going to be talking to the people inside of my community and saying, all right, who here wants to spend these next 8 months setting up a nursery system for you to take the babies? I mean, when we'll either send eggs or the babies, and we will make sure that those people are set up and they are ready for when the babies are ready. Get them the babies, and those babies are raised up in luxury. That's my vision. I've got people in the community here that are ready to do that. We can show the chameleon community another way, a better way. And this is exciting. It's exciting to do it. Is this sustainable? Do groups of people ever work together long term? I don't know. We're just going to show that it can happen, at least in this little community. So, James says, yeah, I don't want 80 babies. You guys need to help me. Steve says, I'm glad to have been part of this community for several years. Yeah, you've been around for everything, I think. The Exotic Way is asking, what screen material would you recommend for an outdoor enclosure to prevent cats and raccoons to get at it? I would actually recommend hardware cloth. You get your 2x4 frame and you put 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch hardware cloth on one side and on the other side. So you have a space of 1.5 inches airspace between 2 layers of hardware cloth. And that's the way you protect your chameleons, because if they get on the side, the cats can get them through the hardware cloth. That's the way to do it. So James says, well, I got a few years left in me, Bill, so I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, you're not going anywhere. We got a lot of adventure to go through in the near future. We have a lot of adventure to go through. And me and James, we've been around for decades. We've been doing the chameleon thing, I think, since the 90s. I don't know when James started. It was back somewhere around there. So we've seen a lot. And I think it's very special for me and James, especially, to make sure we leave the community with something special. And being able to put together a small batch breeding project and just show that it can work, not that it is established, but that can work, that would be something that we would be proud to say, yeah, we were part of. We did that. And so there's a lot behind what we want, what we're doing here. There's a lot of love behind what's going on here at the Chameleon Academy. So, all right, everybody, it's time to get started to have a good Sunday night and get started on the week. And I'm going to be seeing most of you, some of you, next weekend. I will get that. I got to get that newsletter out, and stay tuned to my Instagram or the virtual campus or where we talk Tuesday night. And I'm going to give you details as to when to tune in on next Saturday, because we're going to be at Clint's. We're going to be having an event in the evening, and I'm going to make sure that you all are there and can be live with us for the main event. And so you're going to meet everybody. You're going to meet everybody on camera. So that's a step beyond just the text here. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for going on this adventure with me. We got so much more to go. So we'll see you all.